Hi there, it's Nicola from Mountain Training. This is the sixth and final Social Media Monday webinar, which is actually on a Tuesday because in England and Wales it was bank holiday yesterday. So today's session is about monitoring and evaluating. So this is really all about how you can work out what's worked and what hasn't with regards to all of your social media posts and the effort that you've put in. So what can you learn from all of this? Well, you can definitely have a look at the success of the content that you've posted or tweeted. So the type of content, the engagement, the reach, and the engagement rate. You can have a look at all of those things. And you can also learn quite a lot about the sort of people that are following you and that are interacting with your posts and tweets. So whether they're fans or followers or people that are commenting and engaging. You can also find out about when they're online. So what days of the week, what times of the day, are they male, are they female, how old are they, how much do they earn, that kind of thing. It varies from platform to platform, but you can find out a fair bit about the sort of people that follow you. So we're going to have a look at post metrics for Facebook, then for Instagram, and also for Twitter. And also we're going to have a look along the way at the various insight pages that each platform has. And then we're going to have a brief look at Google Analytics as well, because that's definitely part of the picture, I think. So top tips for this then. Don't get overwhelmed by all the information available to you. Work out what's important to you and use it to help you tweak what you're doing. I should have said at the start, if anybody's got any questions, feel free to just unmute your microphone and pipe up. If not, there is a chat box you can use, so feel free to just type in a question as we're going along, and I can either deal with it as and when or just wait till the end, whatever works for you. So we've only just started, so this is kind of an overview of the sort of things you can learn and really my kind of top tips for not getting too bamboozled by it all, because there is a lot of information in there. So yeah. So starting with Facebook then, so the post metrics, and by post metrics I just mean the sort of data that you can get on the post itself. So I've kind of highlighted it all in this red box down here. This is just a screenshot of something I posted a little while ago. The number of people reached, so for this post at the time I took the screenshot, was 3,240. Engagements, so 177 people have engaged with the post in some way, so they've either clicked on it or they've liked it or they've commented it on or they've shared it. So comments, you can see there are 8 comments and 6 shares. And then we've got 21 likes down here. Only people only liked this. We didn't get any love or anything else, but that's okay. And if you hover over either this or this, you'll see that it goes underlined. So then if you click on it, you'll get a little bit more information, which is this. So in a pop-up, you'll get this information. And this just drills down a little bit more into some of that information. So you can see that actually I got 27 likes on that post. 22 of them were on the post itself, and 5 of the likes were on posts that other people shared. So we kind of reached that many people extra. We got that many more likes because other people shared it. So it just gives you a little bit more detail on each post. So I definitely recommend trying to get into the habit of having a look at these, you know, half a day or so after you've posted something on Facebook. Just log in, have a little look. How many people has it reached? How many people are engaging? What's it looking like? You know, are people interacting with it? So if you get into the habit of doing that, you'll start to learn what is kind of normal for you or what is normal at the moment. And you can always increase that and improve those figures. But you'll start to get a picture of, you know, what is about normal. And then once you know that, you can use the insights page on Facebook as well. So on your Facebook page, up here in the top line here, one of the tabs is insights. So if you click on that, I'm actually going to switch directly to our Facebook one for now, just because then I can show you it live. So this is our Insights tab. And there's a whole load of stuff down here. By all means, sort of have a click in and have a little look around. There are quite a lot of really useful little I buttons. So if you've got no idea what it's telling you, if you hover over any of the little information buttons, a little pop-up will appear that tells you what it's showing you, sorry. But the two I wanted to show you in particularly are posts and people. So posts has all of the things that you've posted just recently, and it will show you the reach, the engagement, so how many people, how many clicks, and how many reactions, comments, and shares you've got. So all of that stuff appears here. So you can have a little look through and you can compare various posts. You can see, well, that one got 4.2 thousand, this one only got 1.3. So why is that? This one only got 520, this one only reached 527 people. Why might that be? So you can have a little look, and you can also tweak what you're looking at here. So if I change that to engagement rate, then it turns it into a percentage. So of all the people who clicked, liked, commented, shared, what is that as a percentage of the number of people it reached? And generally speaking, for mountain training, if it gets anywhere over 5%, I'm happy. If it gets 10% or more, then I'm over the moon. So you can see of most of these posts that are showing just here from the last month or so, most of them are around the 4 to 5% mark. A couple of them got more than that. This one's got 8%. This one down here also got 8%. So they're ones that did, I would say, particularly well. And you can also see through these little icons here what kind of post it was. So this was a collection of photographs, this was a link, this was more photographs. We got anything different? No. So you can also obviously post videos, and a few other little icons can show in here as well. And if you've targeted your posts, it'll tell you in here. So generally speaking, a lot of our posts we just share with everybody, but occasionally we do post things. So this one, it was a post from S4C that we shared, and they're only based in Wales, and they were interested in people that go walking in Wales for the Welsh TV channel. So I targeted that, although it says living in the United Kingdom, I did actually target it to only people in Wales, which is probably why we then got a relatively limited reach compared to some of the other posts, but it got a high engagement, so it was definitely worth doing. Should we check our, so questions come in, should we check our social media accounts daily after we've done a post, or is weekly analytics enough? I would definitely say that depends on how often you're posting. So if you're posting once a day or a few times a day every day, then I probably would check it daily, because it just means that you're kind of keeping on top of how things are performing. If you're only posting once or twice a week, then weekly is fine. So I definitely would say that it varies a lot depending on how often you're posting content, really, because, and also you'll start to learn that sometimes posts take off straight away. So you'll post something and within a couple of hours you'll be able to see, wow, that's reached loads of people. Occasionally things take a bit longer to kind of gain much traction, but generally speaking, after 24 hours you should have a pretty good impression of how well a post has done. So yeah, so daily is fine if you've got the time and you're posting quite regularly and you're therefore on the platform already, but if not, then weekly is good enough. Or even, to be honest, if you're happy enough just looking at your posts and how they're doing, you could maybe once a month or once every couple of months do a bit of a bigger review of everything that you've posted. Cool. So yeah, so this is how you can use that posts page, posts tab within Insights. The other one I wanted to show you was people. So this tells you a lot about your fans, your followers, the people you've reached, or the people that have engaged with your posts, depending on which tab you're looking at. So here we're looking at fans. So these are people who like, so it even tells you aggregated demographic data about the people who like your page based on the age and gender information they provide in their user profiles. And then it qualifies that to say this number is an estimate, because not everybody provides the information, this kind of information to Facebook, and also people update their information fairly regularly and all that kind of thing, so it's never going to be 100% accurate, but I'd say it's a pretty good guide of the people who like your page. So you can see here we're on our Facebook page is 72% men, 26% women like our page. It's interesting when you kind of click through actually the difference that makes. So if you kind of have a little look at the sort of age profiles of the people, so our biggest single group is men aged 25 to 34, and then men aged 35 to 44, and so on. So you can kind of get a bit of a handle on who they are and also where they are. So unsurprisingly, most of our fans are in the UK. Quite a lot of them are in London, and then they kind of split out around the major cities of the UK. Carnarvon often features quite highly, which always makes me chuckle because it's kind of the biggest city, if you like, in North Wales. So a lot of there, and everybody will accept there's a fairly big hub of outdoor people who follow mountain training in North Wales. So Carnarvon often does often features much higher up the list than you would expect given its population. But if we assume that kind of is accounting for most of Northwest Wales. So just kind of looking at that, if I then click through followers, it's not massively different. The demographic stats still look fairly similar. If we then switch to reach, again, not much change. But if we go to people engaged, all of a sudden, we've got a much more even split. So, and I'm quite happy with that because I obviously would like a 50-50 split in terms of the people that like our page and follow us in terms of gender and all the different age brackets. Oh, crikey, sorry, shouldn't have clicked on that. Right, hang on, let me just go back there. But what I can see from this is that actually, due to the things we're posting, we are getting much better engagement from women compared to the number that follow us. So I'm happy that the content that we're putting out there is appealing to women as much as or not quite as much, but more than I would expect to women. So that's a good thing. And hopefully over time, if we keep that up, that will lead to us having more female followers and fans. So this is definitely something where we as Mountain Training are maybe slightly different to you as providers, because as providers, you may well be happy to coin a phrase, just getting bums on seats, as in you're not too bothered if they're men or women, you just want them on your courses, and as long as you're filling the courses, then you're happy, because ultimately you need to fill a course so that you can run a course and then everyone moves on. The thing with Mountain Training is we're constantly trying to change the demographic of people who do our qualifications, because we're constantly wanting more women, we're wanting older people, younger people, we're wanting to kind of change a little bit the demographic of people who who do our courses, but that may not be the same for you. So you may be happy that you've got, I don't know, say 70% of the people that follow your page are women between the ages of 18 and 35. That might be exactly what you want, and you're not too fussed about changing that. But we're always kind of striving for it to be a bit different. So I guess from our perspective, that's what we're doing. But yeah, so I'd say of all of the pages on Insights, those are the two I find most interesting personally, but there are a whole load of other things as well, which can become more useful if you're posting more regularly. So by all means, have a little click around. Heading back over then into here. We will switch to Instagram. So I can't give you a live demo of this because it doesn't work so well on a desktop. So I've just taken some screenshots from my phone from earlier. So post metrics on Instagram then. So straight away after you've posted, you should be able to see the number of likes that you're getting. And you can already see that compared to a post that did well on Facebook, which had 22 likes, a post that does well on Instagram has over 175 likes. So numbers wise, it's different because people use the platform in a different way. And we obviously have a slightly different follower base. People maybe like things more freely, or maybe they're more likely to see our posts. So that's interesting. And also you can see straight away the number of comments. So we got 5 comments on this post. So that's definitely something just to keep an eye on, because I've mentioned a few times before, if people comment on your posts, it's on your captions to your photographs on Instagram, definitely worth trying to reply to them if you can. If you click where it says here, view insights, it should say that on every post. If you click on that, you'll get this thing pop up. And this just gives you a little bit more information. So it will tell you the reach. So 1,673 people were reached by this post. 7 people visited our profile as a result. So they saw our post and then they clicked on our profile. So I was talking in one of the earlier webinars about the importance of your profile. So that just shows that. I mean, 7 out of 1,600 isn't masses, but still, if every post 7 different people are clicking on our profile, I want it to be good and I want it to be accurate and to send them to the right place. So we can see that from those we then got at least 1 website click, which is good to note. And down here it says of all the people that were reached, 10% weren't following us. So that means that they found us either through using one of the hashtags that we used, or through the discovery area on Instagram, which is a place where people can, rather than seeing posts from the people they follow, they can see other people's posts. And Instagram decides what gets shown there based on what it knows that person already likes. So this little icon here is the send button. So somebody sent our post to somebody else. So you can't share posts on Instagram as such, but you can sort of send them to other people. And this little icon here is the saved one. So somebody saved our post. Profile visits, I just mentioned, reach, website clicks, and discovery. So that's all the things you can see on the actual post on Instagram. And then if you click on your profile and you go up to this menu here, you get an insights area. And within that insights area, you've got content, activity, and audience. So you can see a similar sort of stats to what you can see on Facebook, but they're displayed quite differently. So on here, if I clicked on any of those things that are in blue, they're all linked. And if I click on any of those, it comes up with different options. So instead of showing all, I can just show photos, not videos. And instead of posted in the past year, I can change that to the past month or the past day or whatever. And I can sort it by quite a few different variables. So it could be profile visits, it could be likes. So this video here gave us the most profile visits of all the things we've posted in the last year. In fact, all of these videos did really well. So that shows me that if one of my goals for Instagram is to try and increase the number of profile visits, videos are the way to go, because people are watching those videos and they want to know more about who we are. If I had changed this to likes instead, it would totally reorder all of these posts and I'd be able to see which one generated the most likes. So you can kind of tweak that and play with that based on what it is you want to know. So that's the content area. Then activity, you get to see a little bit more about what else is going on. So some of those, when people are online, I could also change that to see what time of day they're online, and the discovery type of thing. So I can't remember what that was down there. Profile visits, we had 56 profile visits in that 6-day period. And then the audience. So this is where you can find out a little bit more about the people that are following you on Instagram. So similar to Twitter, it kind of gets broken down by location, age, gender, and followers. As I said, Carnarvon, so London, Manchester, Carnarvon, like the big cities of the world. That's where our followers live. And gender-wise, we've got a slightly different split on Instagram to what we've got on Facebook, but not too dissimilar. I think Facebook, I just said, was 72, so broadly speaking, very similar. And also, this is what time of day people are online. So you can flick through the days, or you can change it to days. Our day profile is pretty much the same every single day of the week, apart from that there's, on Instagram, for us, there's a slight peak on Friday and a slight trough on Saturday. So I very rarely schedule things to be posted on Saturdays because I know that it just won't get much traction. People are far too busy out doing their own thing, either doing the shopping or out having adventures. So me posting things probably means they just won't get seen. But the rest of the days of the week are all good. And unsurprisingly, there are kind of peaks and troughs during the day as well as to what time people are spending most time on social media. Moving on to Twitter then, so tweet metrics on Twitter. So instantly, as soon as you've posted something, you'll be able to see these 4 icons here. So this one is the number of comments, this is retweet, and this is like. So they're the things you get to see straight away. So this post by Paul last week, a picture of his lovely mountain leader course, had 3 retweets and 22 likes. So that's a pretty good numbers, I would say. And within Twitter, there's a whole analytics area similar to the insights area on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm just going to show you that now. So to get to the analytics area, if you click on here where it says more, then click on analytics. You get a whole load of tabs. So it will tell you kind of tweet highlights, your top tweet for the last 28 days. This is all about the number of people it reached and the engagement that it attracted. If I have a look at tweets though, this is similar to the posts page that we were looking at for Instagram and Facebook. So you can kind of look at everything you've sent out, how many impressions did it get, how many engagements, and what's the engagement rate. So similarly, you can see which ones are performing well, which ones aren't performing so well, what led to more engagement. And then there are various different options through here as well. You can see, so that's definitely our top tweet. We're currently still looking for board members. The audiences tab has a whole load more stuff, some of which is useful, some of which I just makes me laugh. So, for example, people who follow us on Twitter, of the other things they're interested in, science news is a big one, dogs is another one, maybe unsurprisingly weather and national parks are pretty important to people as well. So that you might just use that every so often to kind of inform what you're posting about. So I talked a bit about not constantly just banging on about, oh, I run these courses and they're on these dates, but having much more social posts. So just engaging people in topics of conversation, which could be varied. You might want to try and stick to vaguely sort of course relevant topics. But dogs, definitely, you know, everyone loves a cute picture of a dog. Everybody likes talking about their dogs. You know, have you taken your dog on a walk? Did you take your dog to the climbing wall? You know, I don't know, whatever it might be, those kind of topics could be a good way of engaging with people. We can see the stats here as well. We've clearly got many more female followers on Twitter than we have on either of the other two platforms. And we can see the household income categories as well. So how much on average do they earn? It's all in US dollars. So you kind of would need to do a bit of calculating to find out what that means in pounds, but generally speaking, you know, fairly sort of decent earners, I would say. And you can get a bit more about that as you click through here. You know, you can have a look at exactly where they are, where in those countries are they, Northwest England, Wales, Scotland, Greater London, England. Just finding out a little bit more, because in the very first social media webinar, we talked about your target audience, the fact that it's quite a good idea to think about who it is that you want. So what do they do? Where do they live? What do they like? All that kind of thing. Using all of these different insights and insight pages, analytics, whatever you want to call it, is a really good way for you to work out, are you actually reaching the sort of people you wanted to reach? And if you're not, then it might be worth trying to tweak what you're doing. Either changing the type of content you're putting out there, maybe tweaking your tone of voice a little bit to try and attract the right people. So it's generally a really useful way of finding out, yeah, whether you're matching those things. Oh, not that one, sorry, my bad. So moving on from Twitter then, just going to touch on Google Analytics. So if you haven't already, I would strongly recommend that you use Google Analytics on your website, assuming that you have a website, because they're a really useful way of kind of tying all of this together, because they allow you to work out how people are finding out about your website, and also how important is social media to your website traffic, because it could be that you spend hours and hours on Instagram every week, you know, posting every last little thing that you do, but actually it's not really adding a great deal to the number of people that are visiting your website. And if your website is ultimately where people are going to choose to come on a course with you, they might make contact, send an email, or book a course, then your strategy for Instagram isn't working. So I would probably suggest reviewing how all of that works. But anyway, a very quick, I'll also show you through our analytics. So this is our Google Analytics. You can basically, how it works is that every single page on our website has a tiny little piece of code on it that Google have given us, and it allows Google to track people where have they come in from, where do they go when they're on the site, what kind of routes did they take through everything. So that would be an entire other webinar series. And it's actually, if I'm honest, not something I know an enormous amount about, so I probably wouldn't be the right person to do the webinar series. But just for the sake of in context with social media, you can see here that I've set the date range to the 1st of August last year to the 31st of July. So we've got a 12-month period, and I'm on the acquisition area of the site. So you've got quite a few different different tabs within the site. So acquisition is all about people coming to your site, and you can see here that 61.6% of the people that visited our site during that period came from organic search. So they and by organic search as opposed to paid search, we don't pay to advertise on Google or Yahoo or any of those other platforms. So it means somebody typed something into Google or any other search engine, and then they landed on our website. So that's what organic search is. Direct is hopefully fairly self-explanatory. They came to our website direct, so either they already had the website bookmarked, or they knew what it was. So it might have been that they saw it on a flyer that we handed out somewhere, or in some other way they opened a browser and they came straight to our website. And then the next two are fairly even. So the orange one is social and the yellow one is referral. And those two things kind of cross over a fair bit. So I'll explain a bit more about that in a second. So if I drill into all traffic and then I go down to referrals, so you can see that within this 12-month period, Facebook was by far the biggest referral website. And you'll also note that there are actually a few different Facebooks listed on here. So there's m.facebook, so that's mobile Facebook. There's facebook.com, which is somebody using a computer or a laptop. There's also l.facebook. And there's another one somewhere further down, lm.facebook. Generally speaking, I wouldn't worry too much about the different types. Essentially, it's all the same Facebook, but Google Analytics just tracks it slightly differently because of the way the links are generated. So we can see that Facebook is by far our biggest referral website, followed by Tada, which is also probably not surprising, given that that's where all of our courses are advertised, and also all our providers live there. So this is Twitter. T.co is Twitter, and then we've got a bunch of other websites as well, including the BMC and the Mountain Weather Information Service website. So this just kind of shows me, okay, I know that social media doesn't make up a massive number of the traffic that comes to our website, but it's a good enough proportion for me to care. And also when I drill down into it, I can see that Facebook is actually referring a lot of traffic to our website. So 8,737 new users in a year. I would quite happily put a bit of effort into social media so that we continue getting that many new users. To me, it's worth doing. Now, obviously, everybody's website stats are going to be different in terms of raw numbers and percentages and stuff. So it's just about learning what your stats look like and what that means. And it is easy, like I said at the beginning, it is easy to get a bit baffled by it all because there are a lot of numbers out there. But I would generally start having a look at it, start trying to make sense of it, and see what you can learn from it and tweak what you're doing as a result. I think there's only one last slide here. So some simple steps to follow now. Review your recent posts. So, and by recent, it will very much depend on how often you post. You could look at what you've posted in the last week or the last month or the last couple of months if you don't post that often. Have a little look at them. If one of your posts got a lot of engagement, have a think about why that might be. Have a look at what you wrote, look at the pictures. Did anything happen as a result? As in, did you see a particular spike in emails that week or that day, or did you get more website traffic as a result of that? If something didn't get much engagement, so you might notice that a handful of your posts didn't do that well, try to think about why that might be. And within reason, you are kind of guessing. But as we've seen, there's also quite a lot of information there that can help pinpoint why. So it might be the type of content. So it might be that anytime you post anything with pictures, it does pretty well. If you don't post, if you just posting words, say on Facebook, it might not do so well, or your videos might do particularly well. So you get to learn what types of content your followers like. It could be that the words or the caption that you put with the photograph on Instagram weren't quite right. They weren't quite appealing to your target audience, so people just didn't engage even though they saw it. Or it might be the time of day that you're posting. So generally speaking, we tend to post things kind of mid-afternoon, unless something's, breaking news and we want to tell people about it straight away. On Facebook especially, we tend to post kind of mid to late afternoon because we know that most people are probably at work, and therefore when they have that mid-afternoon slump or just before the end of the day, they might cheekily pick up their phone and have a little browse through. That's when we're going to get the most traction. If we post things in the morning, sometimes by the time it gets to the end of the day, if they haven't had any early success in the morning, they won't be shown to people later because Facebook thinks they're not that interesting because people weren't looking at them. So that's something we've learned over time. We do still post at other times of the day as well, and things do sometimes do really well that we've posted at other times of the day, but that's something we've learned by just kind of trial and error, really. And something else I'd say is set yourself a target for the next kind of period. So I don't know, it could be the next day, the next week, again, depending on how often you post. What is it that you want? Do you want a certain percentage of engagement? Do you want to reach a certain number of people? Do you want it to try to result in people clicking through to your website? What is it that you want? And try to structure your posts, your tweets, your Instagram photos, whatever, your captions, so that you get that. Spend a little bit more time than you maybe normally would, thinking a bit more carefully about what words you're using, how good the pictures are, all of that kind of stuff. stuff to really try and maximize how good your post looks, and see if that has any impact, and see if you achieve the target that you've set. And then finally, I would say add Google Analytics to your website. I do find it really useful, because you can see definite kind of peaks, and you can find out where people are coming from, and it's not invasive at all. It does, however, need a certain amount of web experience and expertise to put it on your website. So if you've got a web developer, they should be perfectly placed to do that for you. If you haven't, you presumably manage your own website, which means, again, it should be a relatively straightforward thing to do through your web software. So I would definitely do that. That's a bit of a whistle-stop tour through evaluating and monitoring all of this stuff, and there's quite a few different platforms. I haven't really touched on YouTube here, so if anybody is planning to use YouTube as their social media platform of choice, there are similar metrics available within YouTube in terms of the number of views, how many views a video has had and how long people have viewed a video for, and there's a whole greater depth of information that I haven't touched on in all of the platforms that I have covered as well, but I just kind of wanted to give you the highlights. Try and keep it simple, I would say, with metrics, because otherwise you could get lost in a sea of information. If anybody's got any other questions, I will stick around for a little while, so feel free to type something or unmute your microphone. If not, this is now the end of the series, so feel free to rewatch the videos as many times as you need to pause them, whatever, while you go away and do things. If as you start working through things, anything's not making sense, by all means get in touch, drop me a line or an email, and I will help as much as I can. I'll put my contact details at the bottom of the page where I'm posting all these videos as well, so if anybody does have anything specific, or maybe I kind of covered something that didn't make sense to you, feel free to get in touch. I hope you've enjoyed them and found them useful. Speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.